So, good morning and welcome. We're glad that you're here, and we want you to know that love is the spirit of all souls. In this moment of our shared journey, may you feel witnessed and honored wherever you are on your own journey, and may you remember that whether you are here for the first time or the 1,000th, must be really old, but whomever you are, whoever you love, whatever your ability, gender, beliefs, political affiliation, or documentation status, you're welcome here, and you're never alone. Let us now greet our neighbors, especially the new or returning people. Good morning again, and welcome. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The sun is sinking low in the sky above Ashokan. The pines and the willows no soul will be part. There's a whisper in the wind of promises unspoken, and love there will always remain time we remember long ever after, the moonlight and music, the dancing are done.
Almost preempted that. Gosh, that would have been a shame. Golly. Well, for the third time, good morning again. Welcome to all who are with us and right here in the moment, and those who are going to catch us later on. I'm John Murphy. My pronouns are he, him. I will be serving as a worship associate for today's service, together with Crystal Francis, our guest speaker. Pronouns she, her. We're the worship team on the chancel today. Thank you to Gabe Pierre, Liz Elmore, and Jane Alexander later on for our beautiful music. Let's give a warm thank you. So if you're visiting us this morning, we are really glad you're with us. People of all ages are welcome in the service. Nursery care is available if that option is best for you. So I don't know if anybody has any youngsters in here, but the nursery care is available. I'm going to invite everybody, if they would please, to complete a connection card. This card helps us keep connected with you and help you on your life's journey. And you need to know that our caring team is an extension of the ministry team and is here to support you. And you can contact them by writing a note on your connection card, which I just mentioned, or calling the church office to connect to the caring number and leaving a message by email at pastoralcare@allsoulsindy.org, all lowercase. That should be easy to remember. pastoralcare@allsoulsindy.org.
Good morning. If you're with us virtually, please like this video and subscribe and share it. Next Sunday, we have a special presentation. The Reverend Byron Tyler Coles, along with a panel of speakers, including our own Reverend Katie, will be with us virtually. So please keep that in mind. We have a new Environmental Justice Task Force. Is Allison here today? I'm sure she's with us virtually. But if you're interested, talk to her or check the order of service on the back of the page or in the know to find out more about it. All Souls, in partnership with East Coast Migrant Head Start program, is collecting new and used long-sleeve men's and women's shirts to help protect farm workers from the sun. The All Souls East Coast team is competing with other Head Start sites to gather the most donations. We have a bin out next to the coat rack to receive any donations you'd like to make. Why are we here? It is always a good question to ask. Why are we here? Some of us may not be here entirely voluntarily, prompted by our spouse or parents, or some nagging guilt. Some of us are here for answers. Good luck. Some of us treasure the time and comfort we find as we gather together as a community. Some of us hope to be entertained or stimulated, but I warn you now that death is the topic today. Some of us valiantly resign ourselves to possible boredom and maybe even a nap. Be assured that Gabe has planned some good music, though. Some of us have suffered a loss or disappointment this week, and we hope for a word of kindness to uplift us. Please extend those words to each other as you can during and after the service. Some of us missed our coffee in our effort to be here on time. I feel your pain. Whatever your reason to be here, thank you for being present. May you find and take away what you need. Thank you for sharing of yourself. Thank you for joining energy with all those present in this service. Thank you for extending grace and support to those of us leading today's service. And we have a special guest to help us light the chalice. Andras Same from, well, you're not from our sister church, but he's from Transylvania, and this young man has been spending some wonderful time with us. So please welcome him.
The ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our promise to live into our covenant and to put love into action and to live out the community of love and justice we aim to be. Please rise in body or in spirit as we say these adapted chalice lighting words from James V. Blake. Same words that we have spoken since 1903. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Please remain standing and turn to hymn number 18 in the gray hymnal and join in singing with us. Thank you very much.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, oh my soul. Friends to me gathered round, oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
Please take a breath and pause with me for a moment to hold some sorrows and joys in our hearts. Please continue to offer support and care to Alan Morris and his wife Elaine Mancini as Alan recovers from hip surgery. To Elizabeth Drucker, who is recovering from knee surgery, and to Kathy Tanner, who's also recovering from hip surgery. She had her hip replaced. They would welcome cards of care and encouragement, and some would appreciate a gift of food while it's difficult to make their own meals. Please check in the know or today's order of service for more information on how to do that. Lastly, we've had two young Transylvanian guests, Andras Sane and Volach Kovac, and they are with us again today. Be sure to greet them after today's service and ask them about their adventures. They went to Chicago yesterday. John, I need to grab my sheet here.
Yeah, we could do that.
Have you ever heard the phrase, time flies?
Yes, means that life is going by very, very fast.
Does it ever seem like your life has gone really fast?
Yes, when I was young, it seemed to go very slow, but it goes faster every day. What about you?
It's pretty much the same. When I was 5 and I wanted to go to school like some of the neighbor kids, my mother told me I would have to wait a year until I was 6. That year seemed to last forever.
I know how that goes. When I was 12, I wanted to learn how to drive. My dad said I had to wait till I was 16. That was a really long wait. Now as time flies, it doesn't seem like 4 years was too long to wait.
When we were young, we were always looking forward to the next exciting part of life to begin.
Aren't we still looking forward to new adventures?
Well, yes. There are still lots of things ahead, but there is one great adventure that only happens at the end.
I can guess what you're talking about. But we seldom know when exactly it's going to happen. I'm still looking forward to doing other things.
Well, sure. And it's easy to plan for a trip someplace like Disney World in Florida or the Galapagos Islands. But the last great adventure is a true surprise.
Well, maybe it's a surprise or maybe it isn't. I've been thinking about it.
That's so sensible of you, John. I've been thinking about it too, especially since my dad and then my mother passed away. The great adventure awaits.
I'm looking forward to hearing your sermon.
Well, I hope you like it, even if it's a little sad.
So as I mentioned, today Crystal is going to touch on the question of how long is long enough to live. She will also touch on to some other ponderable questions about living and, well, the end of living. You know, biting the dust, buying the farm, riding off into the sunset. In her reflection, Crystal plans on asking you all to offer your favorite euphemism for death and dying. So, I now invite you to take a minute and think of one you might offer. I'm going to pause for a little bit and let you think of one. Okay, time's up, but keep in mind what you decided for later on. People who have achieved an advanced age are often asked about their secret for living so long. You get answers such as, "Oh, I have a glass of wine every day." Or, interestingly enough, the opposite, "I never touch a drop of alcohol." There are numerous other secrets offered. But the plain fact is, there is no secret that the key to long life is to have the right genetic predisposition to do so. Now, people might also talk about keeping physically fit and mentally sharp, and these practices, I think, don't you, have more to do with the quality of life as opposed to the span of life. So, as I encounter folks who seem to be enjoying themselves and living well in their later years, there's some notable attributes that stand out for me. One is flexibility, the ability to adapt to new and different situations. They seem to accept whatever life throws at them with equanimity. And isn't it interesting that the phrase, old and set in their ways, perfectly describes the absence of flexibility. Another important attribute I admire in many older folks is a well-developed sense of humor. These dear souls don't take themselves too seriously and are able to see the absurdities and the incongruities in life. Such people are a joy to be around, aren't they? I also enjoy the company of older people who retain a natural curiosity and willingness to learn. I find, strangely enough, it's actually me who learns from them rather than they who learn from me when I interact with them. The last attribute of older folks that I find particularly endearing is humility. What I admire most is their perspective, which marvels at our human achievements, but also appreciates how insignificant our knowledge is relative to the vast and largely unknown universe in which we live. So it seems to me the answer to the question of how long to live is that when I no longer aspire to be flexible, when I can't try to not take myself too seriously, when I lose the desire to remain curious about things, or when I can no longer sense how awesome the universe is that we live in, then it's time to go, so to speak. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
We cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us and we feel a special glow. We need to have a journey that we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear another nation freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child, and we believe in life we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth and quality and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
What is enough? What is long enough to live? What happens after we die? When have we accomplished whatever our purpose is, and will the quality of our lives be enough? I will touch on all of these, mostly asking questions for you to ponder with me. But first, let's agree to be honest about the topic. This is about death. I know that we commonly use other words to soften the blow of death. I find myself troubled when people won't say the words dead or died, even in the obituary, which is only another name for a death notice. We all know some softening words when we hear them. Can you tell me some of the euphemisms for death? Here's where we have audience participation. Past. The great what? The great beyond. Across the rainbow bridge. Sure. Kick the bucket. Ah, that's a good favorite. Croaked. Went to her reward. Gone hold. Last person off Twitter. That's a new one on me. Bought the farm. They're all good ones. I myself have a personal favorite. Succumbed. Sounds mysterious. In my law practice, on more than one occasion, I met with clients about writing a will, only to have my client make references like, if I die. My response was to ask if they knew something I did not know. I assured them that Benjamin Franklin was on the money with his theory about the certainty of death and taxes. Many people set their sights on living to age 100. Setting 100 as a goal is hopeful and suggests that we can control how long we live. But you and I know this is not true. Early in life, living to be 100 seems far into the distance. It still does to me. When given a high school assignment to write my own obituary, I listed my age of death as 60. because that seemed pretty old and old enough to have made my mark in life. I bet there are a few among us who think 16 is a long way in the future. 30 seemed far away when I was 16. By the time I was 30, I was getting a little anxious about some of my life goals that I'd expected to meet at age 30, and definitely by age 40. By 40, well, I was too busy to worry about much beyond 50. Besides, some of my goals had changed. Now at 65, 70 looks very close. 80 is within sight, and 90, well, I'm not really ready to envision myself at 90 just yet. And so it goes. In Genesis, a book of the Bible and part of the Torah, which are both UU sources, the lifespan of a human being is described as 120 years according to God. In Psalms, another Judeo-Christian text, our lifespan is described as 70 years, or perhaps 80 if we're strong. Now, I know some of you are thinking, there's also the biblical story of Methuselah, the oldest man, who lived to be 969 years old. There is considerable doubt about how those years were translated into modern language and understanding. I'm not sure it's a lie exactly, but... And of course, there's no word on the oldest woman. Maybe she's still alive. The average life expectancy in Indiana is 77 years. Of course, the breakdown of that average varies by race and sex. The Social Security Administration, are some of you worried that you're overstayed? You're okay, at least for the moment. 2 weeks ago. The Social Security Administration uses life expectancy tables to help people decide when to retire. My projected age expectancy, based only on my current age and gender, is 86.9 years. But that doesn't make it so. 100 years is nearly a generation longer than most of us can expect to live. Sorry to bear the news. Although there are clearly some who do live longer than 100 years, even among All Souls members. Is it greed that makes us want to live so long? It is only in the past century that a lifespan of 70 years seemed attainable for the majority of people. The nature of an average means that some people die much earlier and others live longer than 70. You're beating the average. In the past, the likelihood of living to 70 presumed several things. You survived childhood, which we know many children did not. If you were a woman, that you survived giving birth, which many women did not. I'm thinking other thoughts right now. You did not die from the multitude of diseases and injuries for which cures did not yet exist or were not easily accessible. You were not killed in a war. You had sufficient food and shelter to survive. Extending our mortality takes up a fair amount of research. Some might say that funding would be better spent on helping raise the quality of life for however long we are alive, rather than trying to extend life. How long is long enough to live? That is a question which gives me pause when I see a loved one or a friend who is dying of a chronic and painful condition. As I look upon their suffering, I question if it might be better to let go of life. That is, die. Dying begins to look merciful compared to living in extreme pain or so drugged as to not be aware of life around them. I can imagine worse things than death. Pain or disability can take the delight right out of life. While I'm willing to bear some suffering, there is certainly a limit. Surely the quality of life is at least as important as its length. As we age, our bodies can begin to fail us. The people who mean so much to us begin to die. In my family, I had 6 first cousins on my dad's side and 9 on my mother's. When I add in my brother, sister, and myself, there are a total of 18 first cousins. 2 died at or near birth. Another 5 have died since becoming an adult. but no one is at an age older than I am now, at least not as of yet, has died. When the death of my most recent first cousin to die happened, reality finally struck me. The cost of my living longer is the number of people in my life who I will outlive and watch die. And it feels especially cruel to outlive younger family members. Do I want to live long enough to lose everyone who remembers me when I got my first pair of glasses? Or when I graduated from high school? Who remembers that at age 14, I looked a lot like my maternal grandmother when she was also 14? No one still living knows this from personal knowledge. There are no surviving pictures of my grandmother at age 14. My great-uncle William knew both of us when we were each 14, but he is decades gone, dead. Is it enough to be the last of my generation left alive? To win the contest of who lives the longest? No. No! This is not a competition. Even if it was, it would not be the one I want to live, to win. Before I get too gloomy, let me say I would like to live long enough to know my future grandchildren. I am hopeful that, although they are yet to be, I will look into their eyes, hear their voices, and hold them before I die. Confident? No, not at all. Just hopeful. There is a wedding this fall that bodes well. My children know my position on this, but neither is rushing to bring a baby into the world, nor should they. What happens when we die? Maybe it is just the fear of dying that causes us to want to live so long. Not surprisingly, most of the major religions have an answer to what happens when we die. It is a strong selling point to attract believers. What do you think happens when we die? I don't know. I don't know. I would tell you if I did. I do not trust those who say they know. Some religious doctrines only have one or two possibilities, such as heaven or hell, the good place or the bad place, respectively. Not surprisingly, the differences seem to be in the details rather than the big picture. Interestingly, there is seldom a heaven without a hell, or vice versa, as if there's always a choice. The Catholic Church offers a third choice of purgatory, although I understand it as a temporary place, eventually still resulting in heaven or hell. The Islamic faith believes that after death occurs, the good soul sleeps until the day of judgment. The bad soul is punished. Heaven is the reward on the last day. Hell is the other option. The Jewish faith believes that life does not begin with birth, nor does it end with death. Heaven and hell are possibilities, but also is reincarnation. Hindus believe in reincarnation, that we die to be born again in another life until we reach our highest being. Similarly, Buddhists believe in a cycle of death and rebirth until we reach the state of enlightenment called nirvana. The pagans believe in the unending cycle of life and death, guided by the divine. Do I think different things happen to different people? I don't know that either. But maybe. It is nice to think that whatever a person believed or wanted death to be would be what would happen to that person. Essentially, we would self-select. But I'm not aware of a religion that supports a buffet approach to the end of life, death. At times, it is gratifying that death may bring retribution to those who commit acts of evil during their lifetimes. I think that whenever I see one of these action movies. However, the fear of being punished for my own crimes and misdemeanors gives me pause about wishing too hard for someone else's punishment. Lest I forget the first principle of the inherent worth and dignity of every human being, and the second principle of justice equity, and compassion in human relations, I am not here to condemn anyone. We might do well to remember that whatever we wish upon someone else could be our own destiny. You might think all the talk about heaven would encourage the believers to want to die young and get to heaven sooner, but I have not observed this to be so. The concept of heaven varies quite a bit from the 7 levels that Islam offers to the place of many mansions suggested by Christians to Iowa, if like my husband, you are a Field of Dreams baseball fan. For myself, I hope that a door opens when I die that leads to whatever is next. I hope that I will find joy there with those who have gone before me. All I can do is hope, because I don't know the answer and don't expect to know it until this life concludes. I mean, when I die. One possibility is that I will just be dead, making it important to live my best life in each moment. We only have the moment at hand with any certainty. I have known people who were ready to die and were anxious to be done with the suffering in their lives. My father-in-law, in his last days, begged for death as he died painfully from emphysema. I have known people so unhappy that they speeded up the process by ending their own lives in the belief that they had had enough. Suicide is so not where I want to go with this. I've also known people who wanted to live longer by whatever treatment or extreme means available. They did not want to die and resisted any notion that they would die, despite evidence to the contrary. Have I done enough? Jimmy Carter says that I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, for as long as I can, with whatever I have to try to make a difference. That is a high bar. No doubt, former President Jimmy Carter has lived an extraordinary and exemplary life, perhaps even more so since his presidency. What is enough for me? Do I need to be pushing towards increased productivity with my last breath? There are truly valuable things to do as a volunteer, like Jimmy and Rosalind Carter's work for Habitat for Humanity. I could do more in my retirement. There is always more to be done, and lots of deserving organizations in need of volunteers, just like All Souls. Would it be okay to simply say enough and enjoy retirement? Will it be enough when I am no longer doing anything of significant value? My husband is still employed. Frequently, he will ask me what I did that day when he comes home from the office. I usually give him a laundry list of the various chores I have done, or I say, nothing, feeling a bit useless with that response. When I'm sitting on the rocker on my porch, will I have done enough? I don't want to feel guilty for not doing more than greeting the passersby, or maybe rocking a grandbaby. John Milton says, "Those also serve who only stand and wait." Now, I doubt that lets me off the hook. John Milton was writing about his blindness and how it made him feel, not simply the aging process. What is enough extends beyond merely the length of my life. It speaks to the quality and purposefulness of my life. Have I done enough good in my life's work to say it was enough? Am I duty-bound to continue being useful depending on my own skills in some way that isn't just meeting my own selfishness? When is it enough to say, I am done with work. I will enjoy the time left to me? Am I ever off the hook for being or trying to be a good person? Stealing my thunder. All those who've gone before me have left lots of examples of lives, short, long, and in between. Remembering loved ones, They never stopped loving, being kind, and caring about the rest of us. I did not have enough of them, even, it seems, when they had given me enough. The challenge to what is enough is to make whatever time there is be enough. This seems difficult if I set goals that require years to accomplish. Yet, if I have those years, why shouldn't I make them useful years, as I've tried to do in the past? Given the arbitrariness as to when I will die, I have to make each day be enough unto itself. I want to feel satisfied that when I die, my life has been enough. I don't want to be ashamed of my life if and when I join my ancestors, that is, die, or if I have to defend my life's actions. I want it all to have been enough. Lastly, when I succumb, tell people I am dead. Be honest. Don't sugarcoat it. Enough and amen.
Thank you so much, Crystal. Each week, we gather together to align our giving with our values. We give support to the ministries in the mission of All Souls Congregation. And each week, we share half of our weekly offering with the organization whose values align with ours. So this week, we're sharing the plate with the Indianapolis Freedom School Partnership. And this organization offers a 6-week summer program that's designed to increase literacy, self-esteem, socioeconomic skills, and a love of learning for children in grades K through 8. And All Souls has previously hosted a Freedom School here during the summer, and we continue to support this important outreach project. So to contribute, you can place cash in the collection basket, or if online, you can go to allsoulsindy.org, where you'll find a link that says Give to All Souls here. It's beneath the description for today's service, if you're looking for it. Please indicate if your gift is an ordinary pledge or if it is for Share the Plate. So thank you for supporting the mission of All Souls and for your continued love for one another and for this world. So take a moment to make your gift. Morning offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Jane, that was absolutely beautiful. We're in the home stretch. Listen to a few lines from poet Mary Oliver. To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things. Love what is mortal. Hold it against your bones, knowing that your life depends on it. And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. I would add to Miss Oliver's words, let it be enough. Amen.